What's going on, everyone? It's Adam. So, the other day, I stumbled upon this fascinating video talking about the downside of being naturally talented at picking up languages. The girl in the video was basically saying that when you're just naturally good at something, sometimes you get lazy. You rely on your gift instead of putting in the real work. And in the end, you don't progress as much as someone who grinds every day. It got me thinking about my own journey with Spanish and this whole obsession I used to have with wanting to sound like a native speaker. If I could hop in a time machine and visit young Adam, I'd sit him down and be like, "Dude, relax. You're going about this all wrong." Let me rewind a bit. I remember this one time we had this dinner gathering at my in-law place in Argentina. Some travelers were passing through honestly. I can't remember if they were from Switzerland, Germany, or Denmark. But what I do remember is how much fun they were having. These folks were laughing, telling stories, just having an absolute blast with everyone. Their Spanish, definitely not perfect. Maybe intermediate at best. Strong accents, wrong words here and there. But they were living in the moment. And there I was, sitting at the same table, with my perfect native-like accent, completely stressed out. Stressed about buying vegetables earlier that day. Stressed about saying the right thing. Stressed about being exposed. That moment was a wake-up call. I realized I had built a prison out of perfection. I had achieved everything I set out to do. I was fluent. I had the accent down, but I couldn't even enjoy a simple conversation. Here's the thing that messed me up. I wanted to pass as someone I wasn't. I'm a native English speaker. That's my background. When I started learning Spanish, it wasn't just about the joy of learning a new way to speak. It was about identity. I wanted people to think I was born there. I wanted to fool them. And that mindset, it's a trap. When you're constantly trying to be someone else, you're always in copying mode. And yeah, imitation is a great tool for learning pronunciation and rhythm. But when it becomes your main goal, it turns into a game you can never win. Because no matter what, someone will eventually notice. And when they do, you feel like a failure. Oh no, they caught me, I'd think. How ridiculous is that? The thing is, I had all these pieces from different places. I had teachers from Mexico, Spain, Argentina. I learned all kinds of words and expressions from all over. I could have created my own unique way of speaking. Spanish, a blend of everything I'd picked up, and people would have understood me just fine. But no, I boxed myself in. If a word wasn't part of the Argentinian dialect I was trying to master, I refused to use it. If a pronunciation feature existed in Spanish, but wasn't from my region, ayurudonto, tachito, I made my world smaller instead of bigger. And honestly, it got boring. I kept saying the same things over and over instead of playing with the language and expressing myself. And the anxiety. Man, the anxiety was real. You have no idea how stressful it was to do something as simple as buying lettuce and tomatoes. I'd walk into a store, and my brain would go into overdrive. Are the words going to come out right? Am I going to sound natural? What if they can tell I'm not from here? And here's the irony, that fear actually made me mess up more. I was so worried about being perfect that I'd stumble over the simplest things. Now, I don't care anymore. And suddenly, I don't stumble. Funny how that works. When you sound like a native, people assume you know everything they know. They'll drop an idiom or a cultural reference. And if you don't get it, they look at you like, "Wait, how do you not know that?" You sound just like us. So you're expected to have the same cultural knowledge which you don't. And instead of asking questions and learning, I'd often just smile and nod, pretending I understood, faking competency. Why? Because I was embarrassed. I didn't want people to realize I wasn't one of them. Most people are kind, though most people want to help. But when you're in that mindset, you forget that. Now, don't get me wrong. Having a role model is great. If you watch my videos and think, Man, I want to speak like Adam. That's awesome. Use me for practice. Imitate my pronunciation, my rhythm. That's a fantastic way to improve. But don't lose yourself in the imitation, because your voice, it's one of a kind. There's nobody else on this planet with your exact background, your experiences, your perspective. And that's what makes language beautiful when you bring you into it. So use me as inspiration. Sure, but then make it your own. If you hear me use a certain sound and you don't like it, change it. Do it your way. That's how you truly own a language. Here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're learning English and your main goal is to sound like a native speaker, if that's something you obsess over, it can create so much unnecessary pressure. It makes you afraid of mistakes. It holds you back from speaking up and sharing your ideas. It turns communication into a performance instead of a connection. And ironically, that fear of making mistakes means you practice less. And if you practice less, you improve slower. So let go of that pressure. Focus on expressing yourself. Focus on having fun with the language. Focus on connecting with people. And over time, you might just end up sounding like a native anyway. But even if you don't, you'll have something way more valuable. The ability to communicate freely and authentically. If this video helped you see things differently, please subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And if you've got any questions or just want to share your own experience, drop a comment below. I read them and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.